Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat. I am here today with Kim Barnes Jefferson. Kim Barnes Jefferson, host of the Fit Girl Magic podcast and creator of the Reps Formula. She helps women over 40 break their healthy lifestyle rules so they can feel fit, confident, and comfortable in their own bodies. Her coaching comes with a side of real talk so that you are not left spinning your wheels wondering what the heck to do next. By the time clients are done working with Kim, they realize that it's their strong habits that have led them to creating repeatable routines that have ultimately given them the results that they have been seeking. Today was like catching up with an old friend and talking about all of the things that are near and dear to my heart because I am a fitness fanatic. I love everything about fitness and health. I live, eat, breathe it, and I think I always have. So I really enjoyed getting with Coach Kim Barnes Jefferson today, and she really breaks it down for everyone, because one of the things that when we're trying to create a new lifestyle change, that everything really boils down to is our habits and creating habits that help you gain momentum and small wins. We talk about that and just the BS, the excuses and stories that we tell ourselves, calling ourselves out, learning how to become accountable, but also learning how to give ourselves grace and stop chasing a fictitious person out there that is supposedly perfect, but make this sustainable, strong habits so we can live long and have a healthy lifestyle, but have some fun in the middle. Like she said, she wants to be able to have a pizza once in a while and drink a cocktail on the beach. And I don't know if you can relate to that, but she talks also about making it like 80%, 20% fun, 80% doing the work. So she talked about 3 different kinds of clients, and the third one she talks about is the wish I have for all of you and for me and for all clients out there. And it is the one that has the freedom to eat clean, but also have that occasional glass of wine or dessert, and knowing, if I eat like that all the time, then I'm not going to have the health I desire. But if I could just eat clean most of the time, and then I can get off here and there for a I don't want to call it a treat, but for something, guilty pleasure, or I don't even want to say that, just an indulgence of sorts, right? So I hope you guys really enjoy this. We also speak to the competitor or the athlete that may feel after their sport is done or their competitions are over that they have somewhat lost their identity. And so she really did a good job of speaking to that. So I hope you guys really enjoy this today. And you can listen to Kim over at Fit Girl Magic podcast if you want to get more of her salty talk. Without further ado, let's dive into the episode. Oh, I'm so excited to have you on today, Kim.
Linda, it's so funny. Linda and I go way back, and I'm like, I can't think of the last time you and I have had a conversation where you're not wearing a glittery bikini.
Oh my God, that's the funniest part. Oh my gosh, right? Those are the days, aren't they?
I mean, it seems like so long ago, but doesn't it seem like yesterday?
It does. So many lessons I've learned from that journey.
Yeah, I've learned a ton from that journey.
And also, I think it's just that goal setting journey of setting a goal for yourself and achieving it, and realizing that if you believe and you work hard, you can achieve just about anything.
I ditto. Like I always tell people, they're like, oh, do you regret competing? I said, no, I learned how to get stuff done. Like I learned how to like goal set and like be like laser focused and just do the do.
Well, I have mad respect for you. I saw one of your competition photos when you competed, and I give you major props. You were so buff and in shape. Can you tell the listeners how you got started on this journey, first of all, and then became the honesty coach?
So really it started, my husband and I got married, and he turned 40, and I was like, he can't die on me. And I said, let's give each other a personal trainer for Christmas. And we met our personal trainer, Mikey D, and I was just there for moral support. And so Mike turns to me and goes, well, you could lose about 25 pounds. And I was like, the hell? And I, from there, like every Saturday we went to the gym for 12 weeks. And every Saturday I asked that man teen questions. I'm surprised he just didn't put tape on my mouth and just says, just work out and shut up. And he was the one who really got me started on this path. And he said, Kim, you should compete. Like you have like that laser focus. And I was like, I'm not girly. That's not what I do. Then the Red Sox won the World Series. And I was like, after 86 years of the Red Sox trying to win the World Series, anything is possible. So from 2004 to where we are today, that's always been my motto. Like, okay, I might not know how to do it. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I'm like, hey, if the Red Sox can win the World Series, anything is possible.
I love that. So you had your whole journey of competing. How long did you compete?
I competed for 9 years.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty long time. What made you decide to stop and get into coaching?
It's funny, and you probably know this well. You don't know when you're going to stop. You just know, like, one day you're not as excited about training, or you're like, yeah, I want to do another show, and then you're like, oh yeah, October, oh January, like and it just keeps like the date keeps moving out, and you're like, you know what? I just don't have that same like vim and vigor that I had to train the way I like to train to get ready for a show, or I just wanted to be a regular person. I just didn't want to be this girl who like I was either training to compete or I wasn't. And so I was like, I want to know what it's like to feel like a regular person instead of a fitness competitor.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. I think you can keep going, but I think sometimes there comes a time where you're like, I've been there, done that, proved that. I think I'm ready for something else.
Yeah. And you don't know when that's going to happen. I always tell people that. And, even the girls I coach, like I see it, like, they come to me and they're like, oh, I want to do another show. And I see all the crap going on in their life. And I'm like, really? You want to do another show? Like,
it's a distraction.
Right. I'm like, your son's doing this, your husband's doing that. This is happening. Like, do you have time? And it's me subtly being like, girl, like cut the bullshit. Like it's time for you to like give up, hang up the clear heels and, create another identity.
I think that it's so many things, and it can be running away from your life.
Oh, 125%. I mean, I really think that's why, a lot of people start down the competitive journey is one, they might just have, I don't know if you say this on your show, poop going on in their life that, I use a little more saltier talk, but they might have poop going on in their life that if I can, create this amazing body that will make whatever it is going on in your life, magically disappear, or it'll just give an outlet for not dealing with the poop in your life.
Yes, it's like they think, well, it's exciting, it's validating, and sometimes it's not, but for the most part, it's very validating, and you feel better about yourself for sure. I think, though, many times it can be a distraction, like I said before, running away 100%. From the life that you actually have. So I think it's good to be clear about your intentions and why you're doing it, and just kind of take an overall assessment from time to time, because you can also become really self-absorbed.
Oh, yeah, saying that.
When all your statements become I,
Right. Or just
then
like,
maybe you need to check yourself.
right. Or like your whole world revolves around like, when are you going to go to the gym? When are you going to meal prep? And you're just like, you're missing, family things. Like, I remember I'm guilty of it. I remember I went to a wedding and I legit was like, okay, I had called the hotel to be like, what can I, like, this is what I can eat. Do you have it? And that's when I think I started to realize, okay, Kim, you have jumped over the goddamn ledge. Like, you are just like entered into like the crazy zone.
Well, I mean, I just can think of all kinds of stories like that one where you're just, I mean, the things that you eat for breakfast at times when you're in a pinch.
Yeah.
I've literally eaten cold fish.
Like,
You know?
120%. Yeah. So it's just, competition part of me really started me to focus on being more realistic, right? Because so many people go into competition prep and it's not realistic. So, and I want to find the person who's like 12 weeks to show. I want to find that person because not every person is on that same timeline. Our bodies are very different.
Oh gosh, not. Oh, I had to go longer than 12 to
Yeah.
get. Maybe once I got to a certain point, it was
Right.
easy to just drop in, but no. I remember, I think it was Lorenzo Gasper said, he said, you look really great, but you need to diet longer. And for me, that was like the plan. I needed to follow the plan longer.
Right.
And that was true. And each show I got a little better at finding my rhythm.
Right.
And finding health, because
Yes.
you really don't want to go too extreme because the rebound is fierce.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, let's take it to like real life. Like, even for every person who's lost 20 pounds and it came back, you feel like, someone like ripped your heart out because you're just like, you worked so hard. And then all of a sudden you're like, gosh darn it, it's back. And you just are like, how do I sustain this? And
I don't go to extremes, first of all.
100%. Like, I'm always, to my clients, I'm always like, let's stop dieting for an event. Let's start dieting for life, right? So that I'm no longer dieting. Maybe before I go on vacation, maybe if I have those little extras, I'm just pulling those extras out, but it's not this like whole scale, like, do not eat list and I got a lock on the refrigerator.
I remember people just like wanting to wire their mouth shut, or they want me to come smack the food out of their hands, or text them at 1:30 in the afternoon and say, put that down.
Yes. And, I think for many of us, because we go to extremes, like that's what causes us, like instead of when we start dieting, I always say to people, I'm like, why do you start with this do not list? Like, it's this long list of don't, why don't we start with something simple? Like, how about water, right? Let's start with water. Or how about sleep? Or let's start with stress. So that you get a couple wins under your belt. Because, everyone thinks motivation is going to roll up and knock on your door and be like, hey girl, you ready? We're going to go to the gym. We got some willpower in the back seat. It's going to be all good. And it doesn't work that way. The best thing I can say to you is like, let's start with small goals. Let's say, you know what, today I'm going to work out. Today I'm going to work out, and I'm going to work out for 15 minutes and let it be what it is. Versus like, it has to be hard and two a day and, no carbs and no sugar and no fun.
Now we've been speaking to the extremist. Let's speak to the person that this is many clients and many people out there that aren't clients that really struggle because in their mind, they think they feel like they fail because they can't do it perfectly. And so they just give up, and then they try, but they don't fully commit.
Right.
and then they don't even let their coach help them, but then they say, I can't do anything, I can never do this, I try, but it never works.
So I have this thing, what I call my reps formula. And so when, we all have those clients, we all have those friends who are like, they try everything and they're just like, everything seems to fail, if you will. And I'm like, okay, let's pick something that you want to try. And I'm like, let's run through the reps formula. So say to me that you wanted to try keto, right? For me, I don't care what you follow as long as it works for you. So let's say
I can't do that. I'm a picky eater. I'm just saying this is what
right. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, is it realistic for you? So you tell me you're a picky eater. So I was like, okay, so keto really isn't going to work for you because you're a picky eater. So we've already said to ourselves, okay, so that's not really going to work. That's not realistic. So it's not going to work. So then if you're like, well, no, I can figure something out. Okay, great. Let's keep going. And then I'm like, well, are you excited that for keto, it's primarily high fat? You don't really get a lot of carbs. I know that you love your carbs. Would you be excited to give up your carbs? And then you're like, it makes you think again. And then you're like, okay, I know you don't really like to cook. So you might need to do a little bit more cooking, a little bit more meal prep. Is this going to work for you?
I don't know. I don't have time to cook, and it has to take like 10 minutes.
Right. And I'm like, well, we could possibly find some recipes that take 10 minutes. So it could potentially fit into your life, into your life's plan without doing a lot of gymnastics. But at the end of the day, can you see yourself, 6 months from now, still living this keto lifestyle?
Well, does it include Fritos?
Well, and I would have to look that up for you, but possible. I think it might have enough high fat.
If I can have some Fritos, I'm down, Kim.
Right. But do you see how it goes down where it's like, it makes you take a pause, because so many people pick something because we were at a party and I heard Linda was doing it. Then I heard Sally was doing it. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to do it. But you never really thought about, is it realistic for you? Can you get excited about it? Can you make a plan into your life that doesn't require a lot of gymnastics? And is it sustainable for you? And the more that fits in, the more you're able to say yes, 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 the more successful you're going to be. And then I always say, like, let's scale it back. Like, what is one small win look like for you? Because like you said, I want to lose the 20 pounds. I want to get a 6-pack abs. I want, and I'm like, how about we just say, I just want to sleep better, or I just want to be able to like look at myself in the mirror and not cringe, right? Let's go for like these little small things, because the more small wins you have under your belt, the more excited you are about stuff, the more you want to do it.
Well, yeah, because you start feeling good and successful. And I think it's too the mindset that you come to something with. If you're too hard on yourself, that's why you're failing, because you're not even giving yourself space to kind of learn and evolve and do small things. Like you said, like the first one, I'm saying drink water. Like, don't start with a gallon. It's probably going to be too overwhelming if you're not used to that. Drink maybe 2 glasses before each meal.
Right.
And then you'll start seeing some results from even that, and then you'll be more encouraged to drink more water, because you're like, wow, that almost makes my fat disappear.
Right. It's kind of, I like to equate it to like 2 like kind of examples to help my people like get this. It's like, do you wake up on Monday and say, I'm going to run the Boston Marathon on Friday? Right? No one wakes up and says, I'm going to run 26 miles by Friday. We're like, okay, I need to come up with a plan so that I can, gradually increase my mileage so I can hit the 26 miles. Most people who are running the Boston Marathon, they start in February, and it's like this particular number of miles that they increase till the marathon is in April. The other analogy I like to use is kids. Does a kid wake up walking, right? Does a kid come out of the womb walking and eating and all of that? No. It stumbles, it fumbles, it does all the things. And what do? We encourage, we're like, okay, you can walk, Johnny, like you can crawl. We always encourage our kids to like keep going when they fail. Yet somehow as we like become more, as we evolve and become adults, we lose that, like, okay, I can stumble and it's not the end of the world. Like, you know, no one died because I had a brownie. Like, no one died because I didn't follow my diet today.
Yeah, I think it's just like this all or nothing mentality. If I can't do it perfectly, I'm not going to do it at all. And I think it's just like you said, finding those small wins and focusing on the things that you can do versus what you feel like. And then also give up some of those stories because they're BS.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, you and I both work with women over 40, and, you know, some of the stories, like in fifth grade, someone told you you were an elephant, and you're like 50 and you're still living that, like, Johnny told me I was an elephant. And I'm like, is Johnny even still alive? Do you even know where Johnny is?
I think write down what you're saying to yourself, all the reasons why you think you can't. Just write them down. I mean, because if you can't see through the BS in some of the stories, I mean, it's right there for you. If you heard somebody else doing that, you would be like, oh my gosh, you know, you'd see right through it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the reasons why I started coaching, was because I I saw what a transformation it had for me when I would tell myself those stories. And, you know, you and I shared a coach, and, you know, she totally would never let you, she'd be like, so you done spinning that bullshit? Because when you're done, we can start work.
Truth syrup.
Right. And you know, for anyone listening right now, like, I don't want you to struggle. Like, that's like my main mission in life is I hate seeing people struggle. I hate seeing people, especially when it's a self-imposed struggle. And if you feel like you just can't find your ass with both hands right now, you know, reach out. Like, you have to reach out to a coach. And, you know, I got to tell you, not every coach is like supersonically expensive, but maybe the 3 to 6 months that you spend with a coach, they could help you bust through whatever the hell is going on with you right now, so that you don't spend, I don't know, more years circling around trying to, like, figure out, why can't I, how come this, how come that.
Well, doesn't it all come down to habits, Kim?
It does. And, you know, some people created the habit to quit, right? And some people need to start to say, you know what, I need to just scale it back. And for me, I always say, like, habits always have like a trigger, right? So maybe because I start too fast out the gate. So how can I slow that down so that again, I can start to see that success? And, you know, we've been talking about water. For a while I forgot to drink water. I don't really know why, but I did. So I had to start to create these little triggers for myself throughout the day to make me drink water. And one of the triggers is I literally put a bottle of water in my bathroom. And when I get up in the morning and I'm getting dressed, I'm drinking water, so that by the time I even go downstairs, I've had a 16-ounce bottle of
It
water.
makes you feel you have more energy, first of all.
Right. And it's just like, now it's just what I do. Like, I wake up, I brush my teeth, I start drinking my water while I'm getting dressed. And then I treat myself to a cup of coffee. And that's like my trigger. Like, I go to the bathroom, there's the water. I go downstairs, I have a cup of coffee. And if I want another cup of coffee, I have to have a glass of water, so that there's, like, I set up.
Yeah, you're washing out some of the, you know, it also takes toxins out of our body, and
Right.
it helps with elimination and digestion.
Yeah. And so I make these little things that are, you know, kind of hidden reminders to drink more water. And so it's like, I teach a class at noontime. I bring down my jug of water and I'm like, I'm going to finish this glass of water, this water, before I finish teaching my class. So it's always kind of like these little things along the way that remind me, okay, get your water. And it could be something as simple as a Post-it note. Like, Post-it notes work really well.
A Facebook, like a note. Yeah.
Yeah, like an actual Post-it note. Like, I used to, like, literally around my house put Post-it notes, and Linda's looking at my office and there's Post-it notes behind me. I put Post-it notes everywhere. And
Yeah.
it's just, sometimes it just has to be in your face. to remind you.
It does need to be in your face. That's why it's important to get a coach to have some accountability and somebody helping you. If you're struggling, you know, just asking for some help or hiring someone to help you is a game changer.
Yeah. And it, you know, habits are small. We don't think about, do you put cream in before coffee? Do you put cream in before sugar or sugar before cream in your coffee? You don't think about that. It just is what you do. But it's the repeating of that habit that turns into a routine. And it's that routine that turns into consistency. And we're all striving for that consistency. So as as you're listening today, think about like what it's going to help me be more consistent. And certainly having 50 things on your to-do list is never going to make anyone more consistent. It could just be something like really small, like, okay, I said water, or maybe it's like, I want to have a bedtime. Okay, well, I needed a bedtime too. One of the things I always encourage all of my clients, I'm going to encourage all of you guys right now, set up a routine. I started reading again. And I read for fun. Like I used to just read like business books or self-help books. I started reading for fun. Now now it's like, oh my God, I got to go to bed. Like I want to know what's happening in the book that I'm reading. And sometimes I get so lost in the book that I'm like, this is what I need just to like decompress and unplug. Is it always about going to the gym? Is it always about my nutrition? No, it's about my mental health as well as my pure body physical health.
Well, I was listening to, oh my gosh, I hope I say her name right, Ariane Simone. Her book, Broke Doesn't Scare Me. I think there's another title, but that was part of the premise of, she was on Marie Forleo. And
right.
Oh my gosh, I was just like, I only meant to listen for a bit.
Right.
And I was just like, this is so good. I want to share it with the world. It was like so good about just having the abundance mindset instead of the scarcity mindset that we can get into.
And, I always like money and fitness because they're like, kissing cousins. If people sometimes will get so nervous that like their results won't ever happen, where a lot of people get, nervous, like, I'm never going to make any money. I'm always going to be broke. Like, it is the same thing. Like, I'm always going to be heavy. I'm always going to be this. I'm always going to be that. And it's very similar where it's like, you have to say to yourself, done, like, boom, like stake in the ground. This is over. Like this pattern stops. And does it happen overnight? No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you make the decision and then it's like
it starts with a decision.
And you take the steps and you're always a decision away from, I always ask myself when I'm brushing my teeth, it's always my like rewind of the day. And I'm like, I give myself a grade. It's not pass fail. It's like in elementary school, it's like excellent, needs improvement, satisfactory. And, I just, some days needs improvement, and it's not me being the tar out of myself. It's like, you know what? I went out and I had that extra glass of wine, but you know what? I probably shouldn't have had that extra glass of wine, but I was with a good friend and it was great to catch up. But it's just always those kind of like, be mindful, like, okay, so the next time I go out, I'm going to budget for 2 glasses of wine versus being like, oh, I'm just going to have one. It's going to be fine. Right. Just say, I'm having 2 glasses and be okay with that. And, that's what I challenge my clients at the end of the day. I'm like, just do an assessment. How did the day go? And if there was something you could change, what would be the tweak? Not the like, rip out the page, tear it apart. It's like, if you were editing a document, like, would you add an extra, adjective or an adverb versus, completely deleting the document?
What do you think about women measuring their worth by the scale?
Oh my God. All right, this is a family-friendly show, so I'm gonna keep my salty talk to a minimum. Here's the thing, right? The scale only measures your relationship to gravity. So it tells me that you aren't going to fly off the earth. That's the only thing the scale tells me. If you do enough Googling, around the internet, there's been several images of people that say, I think it's like 150 pounds. They weigh like 150 pounds, and there's like 5 women, and they're all shapes and sizes of what 150 pounds looks like. And like one person is short, one person is tall, one person is wide, and it gives you like that like perspective of like, okay, that 150 pounds means nothing, right? I rather, if for a lot of my clients, the things I'm trying to get them into saying is like, instead of trying to shrink myself, what if I said, I want to get stronger? I want to have a better relationship with food so that all the bullshit about the scale, it goes away because I'm no longer in that binge restrict purge cycle. I'm no longer in that I have to stay on the Stairmaster until I burn a certain amount of calories so that, the scale goes down. That I'm starting to be like, I'm in a better relationship with myself.
Well, and when you start hitting higher numbers, and even though it's just a number on the calendar, your hormones change, and you may not be able to stay on that Stairmaster for a freaking 2 hours, because then you can't go up and down the steps because your joints hurt.
Or you're like, I'm not about that life anymore.
Well, yeah, do you ever want to, have some fun?
Yeah, I think about, back in the day, I would wake up and go to the gym for 5:30. I would be there for easily an hour, and then I would go back after work and I would be there for another like hour and a half. Like, and I look back and I'm like, I'm like, how the hell did I do all of that? I don't. And on weekends, I remember my husband and was also too into fitness. We would go, like, we live in the city, and we would go and we would like put enough money in the meter to be there for 2 hours.
I mean, I do love to work out. Don't get me wrong. That could be me once in a while, but
from time to time, you like. But
I just know that there is a price to pay if you continue at that pace, and it really isn't the best thing overall for your health.
Right. Linda's the same way. I'm all about the balance. My goal is to like get my girls in and out of the gym in 30 minutes or less. And, if you have the extra time, great. But I don't want people to ever feel like, because I felt this way, if I didn't have 2 hours while I work out. And I don't know if you ever had that feeling.
If you what now?
If I didn't have 2 hours while I work out.
Oh, I hear what you're saying. It's basically that whole thing again, extreme, all or nothing kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think we fool ourselves because you can't work out that hard all the time and have it sometimes it works in reverse because you're getting your cortisol up too high, and then maybe you'll do some muscle wasting, and you could actually gain belly fat from over exercising by all the cortisol you're spiking.
Oh, because of that, like my hormones literally were like, I'm not, it literally, it takes
at a certain point because you lose your estrogen.
Yeah. Everything.
What are you depending on is to relieve the stress and the fight or flight mode that you just put your body in, because it doesn't know the difference between that and being chased by a tiger.
Right. I was chased by a tiger every damn day for about 5 years. And eventually, my body literally gave me the finger, and that's when I had to start to develop better, healthier habits. And one of the things I had to do was I had to stop working out for 6 months. Like that, my doctor was like, you need to sit your ass down, girl. And the only thing I could do was walk. And that was like, whoa, that was my identity. My identity was like,
it was because of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I kind of got my ass set down too. That's why I think it's why I started tearing muscle groups from the pelvis.
You're right. Because you just like, your body was like,
it was just that whole thing too long.
I had a good friend. She said, I don't know who said this, but she said it to me, and it just has stuck with me for so long. She's like, if you can't hear your body whisper, if you can't hear it scream. And I'm like, I don't, and that just like stopped me in my tracks. Cause like, how many times did your body whisper to you?
We ignore it.
that you said, shut up, I gotta
We
go.
drive right through it because we're
Yep.
like, right?
And it has to be an injury. It has to be like, you know, like you can't move your arm before you're like.
Well, I actually, when I started tearing everything with the pelvis, and I got frustrated, I envisioned myself like, I'm like, not letting this knock. I'm going to be clawing my way across.
Right. You're like, I can still come up with a routine that I won't use my legs, right?
I know the weirdest things occur to you, but I was just like, I'm a very determined individual. And
Right.
I had to really get some acceptance and some,
Mm,
what is this here to teach me? How is this a gift? How can I work with this? And if I'm beating my body up, that means I'm breaking it. Like if my body's breaking down, that means I must be tearing it down, basically. I'm not, how
yes.
can I build my body up? How can I give it what it needs? Because obviously I'm not doing that, because our body is very much, it's very cooperative if you give
Right.
it the right things, and it heals and it loses weight. You know, sometimes it seems almost instantaneous
Oh,
to
yeah.
you deciding or you releasing things out of your life that shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Right. I love the decide, right? We have to decide that it has to be different, right?
Right.
You know, fortunately, I was told it had to be different, but once I was told it had to be different, it forced me to kind of get quiet and make me like, all right, do I want to be sitting down like every 5 years? Or do I want to kind of say to myself, all right, how do I be a healthy person without it being this like, you know, laundry list of like, you know, the workout has to look like this and this has to look like that. And I just had to like surrender to what it was right now in the here and now, and not future casts. Oh, if this happens and this, because I don't know the future. I mean, I wish I did. I have an astronomer. She kind of knows some stuff, but I had to like trust. I had to trust me. I had to trust my
Yeah.
body, and I had to trust that the person I was working with knew the path. Right.
Trust
And
the process.
right. And I know for so many people, there's an eye roll, but we got a bunch of eye rolls because how many times you hear trust the process? And so
It's true though.
it's true. And the best example expression I heard of it is one of my mentors. She's like, the process is your faith. And if you have faith that it's going to work out, it is. But if you don't have faith, then it's not going to work out.
Because you don't truly, you know, that was one of the things is I found if people truly believe that they could get the results, they would. Like if they see it happening right in front of them with others, it starts making them more of a believer because they see this person just transforming that they never expected to see.
Right.
But I just think it's about that belief that you could actually do it. If you don't believe you can do it, you won't.
Right. And I know like, and trust me, like I had to work a ton on my mindset. Like, and I am not that like, you know, woo woo, let's burn some sage kind of person. Well, I do burn a little sage. It's fine. But I had to come to that place of belief. And it was like, I shifted back to my competition days. It was like, I didn't know anything about competing. I didn't know if I could walk across the stage, but I was like, but it's something I wanted to do. And when you want to do something like 100%, like you're like 2 feet in, there's really no stopping you. It might take you a little longer than you expect. And so you have to like go of that like magic number, like, you know, like I said, the 12 weeks, but like, what if it took you 2 years to lose those 60 pounds and those 60 pounds were never coming back? Would you complain, or would you be like, it's going to take 2 years and I'm just going to let go and just, you know, let fate take me wherever it will?
Yeah, and when I was competing, I got to the point where I didn't weigh myself at all. I just did what the plan was
Mm,
and ate the way that, you know, very healthy, balanced meals. And I got the results because I stopped watching the scale and I started watching my habits.
Yes, and that's, and so many people, like, the habit is the scale, but it's like I always say to you, and then not in a, like, I don't want it to be like, I don't want it to be like it's not a 1-for-1. But if you told me you were up 5 pounds, I'm gonna be like, okay, great. Let's look at like the last 5 days. Have you pooped? Did you have too much water? Did you have a heavy sodium meal? Did you have a little too much food? Right? Like, it's not me like guilting you. It's me showing you that there are more than, you know, this 1-for-1 relationship. I ate, and so now I'm 50 pounds. You know, it doesn't, it doesn't really happen overnight. There's a lot of factors, like maybe you're getting your period, you know, all of these things add up. So like if I'm getting my period and I haven't pooped, yeah, I could really be up 10 pounds. And as soon as I poop and my period's over, those 10 pounds go away.
Yeah, for sure. I want to speak a little bit to the competitor that competed for years upon years, because it becomes this way of life
Mm,
and discipline, and they like, because it keeps them in that, you know, that discipline, and they don't know how to live without it. It's
yes.
just like athletes that their career is over. What, speak to that a little bit. How can they deal with it? Because I think it's like almost like an identity crisis.
I 100% agree. It is an identity crisis, and it's because, you know, I identified as a competitor. I did it for 9 years. Everyone knew I did it. So, you know, one of the first questions out of my, you know, most people's mouth is, when's your next show? Right? Or I always felt like I had to look the part. And so that was very challenging. And so as I was like kind of moving away from competing, it was really starting to come up with other things that I enjoyed doing. And I think that's why I started coaching, is that, you know, I wanted to impart my wisdom on people so that it wasn't about going from, you know, hopping from show to show to show to show. It was like, what else outside of your life do you enjoy? You know, do you have a family? Are you married? Do you have kids? You know, do you enjoy coloring? I don't know, like jumping rope. Do you enjoy something that's not fitness related, so that you can start to kind of hook into that versus it just be about my body, my show, you know, and the workouts.
Well, I heard you talking about the different types of clients one day. You had names. Can
Oh,
you share a few? Because I actually did something like that in my book too, and so I want to hear what yours are.
so I have what I call Mojo Mamas, and Mojo Mamas, they are the mom who, you know, back in the day, like, you were at the gym, you know, you were at every class, you were doing it all, and then kids came along, and you just got like boom, like you got sidelined, and so for those people, I talk to them of like, how do you, again, like, I'm huge into how do we break it up small and create your new normal, right? Because you know, I had a client, she always used to be at the gym 5 a.m. She had kids, that 5 a.m. wasn't happening anymore. And so it's, how do you become, you know, a mom and the person who you used to be? Then I have what I call Comfort Connie. And Comfort Connie is, she is the comfort food girl. Like, all it takes is like one bad thing and she's on the couch with some pretzel chips and some hummus. And so for those people out there, it's like, how do we get home and have a bad day and it's not the pretzel chips, hummus, and some Kim Crawford? You know, what are some other ways we can self-soothe ourselves beyond
It's their
food?
coping mechanism, just like
Right.
fitness is mine, that is theirs.
Right. So it's like, you know, maybe, like, trust me, I had my fair share of sitting on the couch with some Kim Crawford. Like, we were BFFs. But it's like, so that turned into me a walk. Whenever I have a lot going on, you know, like life comes at me fast, I now go for a walk. Like, did I think, you know, 10 years ago that would be my go-to? Oh, hell no. But now, like, I'm like, my body's like, all right, we need to go outside and walk and just like figure out, you know, life right now. Then I have my Mojo Mama, Comfort Connie, and then I have what I call like my Freedom Frankie, and she is, you know, she's being able to find that balance. She knows that, like, okay, Sometimes I'm going to have 2 glasses of wine, and sometimes it's all going to be all about the chicken, the broccoli, and the brown rice. And so I found that like that happy place of being able to, enjoy life, but also know that I can always just go right back to my healthy place. Like it's
That's
not
what
this,
I want for most of my clients, right?
right. And that's where most people want to be. They want to be in that place where it's like, yeah, you know what? Yesterday was yesterday. Boom. I'm back to the next meal, or that meal was that meal. Boom. I'm right back. There's none of this. Well, it's Wednesday, so see you on Monday.
I mean, just beat yourself up for 30 seconds because that's all the good it's going to do you.
Right. It's
30 seconds, you're done.
It's kind of like you hit a pothole. Like if I hit a pothole, am I going to go back and sit in front of the pothole and be like, how come you hit my car? I can't believe you hit my car. How come? Like you're going to be like, oh shit, I hit that pothole. And then you're just going to be like, all right, remember, like on 3rd Street, there's a pothole.
Well, it's also about having strategies and knowing that you are human, and you didn't just magically become this perfect person that never wants to eat a pizza again.
Yeah, I like pizza. I mean, I have a guilty pleasure. There's a cookie person on Instagram. She's called My Cookie Dealer. Let me tell you, like she's straight up crack. Like she sells crack. And so I saw her on TV. She's this little housewife from Long Island, and she sells cookies 2 days a week, but you only can get it on Instagram, and you have to be on Instagram when she's selling, and literally she sells out in like 30 minutes or less. And so I was like, that's very interesting. I'm always into like, business models. I was like, oh, that's very interesting. So I'm like, I'm going to go on. I got it the first time through. I was like, holy crap. I'm buying like 10 cookies for like $40 because I saw some chick on Instagram. Like, I don't usually fall for that kind of thing. They were delicious cookies, I will tell you. But I
Cookies, 10 for $40.
Yes.
She did a good job.
They were amazing. They're like literally they're like the size of a freaking hockey puck. Like,
and make breakfast cookies that are actually on plan that are that big.
Yeah, but it's like I tell my clients, I'm like, yeah, I had cookies. Yeah, I ate them. Am I proud of it? Yeah, because I can't eat 100% clean and not lose my shit. Like I know me. Like whenever I used to be like, no bad foods, I went off the deep end. And so if I have a half of that cookie every few days, it saves me from diving off the deep end. And so I always ask people, have your buffer food, have a treat, go out for dinner with your husband or your wife, like do it.
I love that. So good. So good. So many good nuggets today.
Good. I try.
What would you like every woman out there to know about self-love?
I think everyone should feel comfortable and confident in their own skin. That it's not about what you were 10 years ago, 10 days ago. It's about just feeling who you are as a person. Are you just a lovely person and your skin is just your meat suit, if you will?
And the beauty shines through. A
Right.
Beautiful person. It makes, I just think the beautiful person is what you see. If you have somebody that's very self-serving, very self-absorbed, very narcissistic, their outward appearance may have looked beautiful, but then you get to know them and you don't feel that way.
Like how many people have you met that are aesthetically beautiful, and then you actually have a conversation with them and you're like, they were the most horrible
It
person
doesn't go together.
the most horrible person I've ever met in my life. And then you meet someone who might not be, what someone would consider a supermodel, and they are like the salt of the earth. They will give you the shirt off their back, and you're like, I'll take a bullet for that person.
Right. So I think then again, it's basically how people make you feel, right? It's not necessarily always the appearance. And we're all looking for self-love.
Right.
At the end of the day, why do you want to look so good? Why, just dial that down and ask yourself some questions.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, when I hit whatever size I say I want to hit, what then? What changes for me? What changes for my life? Is my family gonna not love me? Or is my family gonna love me more? Is my family gonna love me less? Am I gonna get a better job? Like, what happens if I don't hit that particular size? Mostly nothing.
Right. And it is never usually what you think. Like yes, it feels good to win. Yes, it feels good to get a trophy. It feels good to reach a goal. I'm not going to lie, that feels great. But it's not like the skies opened up, the heavens opened up, and the hallelujah chorus is going, and
right.
all the bells and whistles and everything drops from the sky. And,
exactly.
It isn't like that at all. The day comes, it goes, you get the trophy, and yes, it is kind of plastic, just like Mean Girls, and
right.
you give a piece of it to everyone. And so, you really got to think about those things and be like, what do I want most at the end of the day?
Right. Like, there's no merit badge, it's like, there's no life merit badge for being the busiest, for being the thinnest, for being the, dieting the hardest. There's no merit badge for that. So it's like, at the end of the day, like, enjoy your life. What brings you absolute joy? If you like sitting on your butt, watching a movie with your family, bring it on. You love travel, bring it on. I like sitting on my butt on a beach and someone bringing me cocktails. I win.
I want to be with you on a beach with a cocktail.
Right. Like that's ultimate joy for me versus, am I going to miss a vacation because, I wasn't a certain size? No.
Some people do.
Some people do. And that's what I want to eliminate, is that I want you just to be like, you know what? I am what I am.
Well, I think it all starts with self-acceptance.
Yeah. And it's like, all you can do is all you can do. Like, that's the one thing I've come to my wisdom as I've aged, is that, like, all I can do is all I can do. And I can, like I said, I talk to myself in the mirror every time I brush my teeth. And I was like, did I do all I can do today? And if I said yes, great. And if I say no, and I was like, what's 1%? Not the laundry list that I used to do in my youth. It's like, well, what's 1%? And it's like, you know what? I didn't really plan my meals today, so I can plan my meals. Boom, done.
Well, that's 80% right there.
Right. So it's these like little, like I've talked about all the time. It's the little things. It's like, okay, maybe I didn't drink water. It's like, well, you know what? I worked last night and I got up and I went to the gym. And so, you know what? Tonight I'm going to tomorrow's going to be a rest day. I'm going to focus on sleep. Boom. That's 1% better.
What can we do to be more coachable, Kim?
I think the biggest thing with being coachable is knowing what you want. And when I say that, it's like, and you probably hear this too, I want to be leaner. Okay. So what does leaner look like to you? So that we can start to get clear about what's in your mind's eye. And then once you say what your goal is and you've come to me, it's like, okay, you still have control. I'm just the cruise director, right? I'm going to present you with some options. And so to be coachable, you have to say, I'm letting go of my control and I'm going to just think about the options so that we can have a conversation about the options versus, yeah, she presents me with these 3 things and I'm just going to do what I'm doing. and then get mad when you don't get the results.
This is so good today. And I've really enjoyed catching up with Kim. I hope you guys have all enjoyed listening to Kim and her, I think she's pretty much a straight shooter, and you're going to get straight talk when you go to Kim. And I really love her podcast. I tuned in today to listen to a little bit, and I subscribed, and that means I liked it. I don't subscribe to everybody. And I really enjoyed listening to everything she had to say at Fit Girl Magic, correct?
That's Fit Girl Magic, yep.
Yeah, so you can find her on iTunes. And I just want to acknowledge you so much for just being real in this space amongst the not real.
Yes, I know. There's a lot of charlatans out there.
This has been great. Thank you so much, Kim, for coming on.
Thank you, Linda. This has been awesome.
And thanks, everybody, for listening today to the Sisterhood of Sweat.